All right, what's up, everyone? This is a new episode of Sports Harder. I am your boy, Matty Lukewarm Ice, and as always, my co-host is Chris the Gorilla Binder,
What's
and
up,
we're
guys?
doing a special Saturday episode right before the playoff games start. We're gonna get our playoff picks in, talk about the games from last weekend. Be a little bit of a shorter episode, but we kind of just want to get our picks in, take advantage of the last little bit of NFL talk that we'll be able to do. I mean, I know sometimes in the off season there can be a lot of NFL talk, especially if there's a lot of coaching changes, which there will be, and if there's going to be a lot of QB moving around, which there usually normally is, or talks of getting a QB in the draft. So, we'll still have stuff to talk about, but actual games, we want to be able to talk about that. So, how's it going, Chris?
It's good. Still rocking my championship belt.
I see that.
Just have to, man.
Yeah, you gotta
If,
rock that as long as you can, man.
just have to kind of rub it in Nico's face. So hopefully he watches these and say, "I got you, Nico."
Oh my goodness. Well, let's start off with the games that happened last weekend. I know it's kind of a little late notice, but um so starting off with let's start off with your team, the Raiders and the Bengals. I know the game didn't go your way. The Raiders weren't able to pull it out. They kind of had a chance there to try to tie it at the end. They at least fought hard. They at least just didn't roll over and give up. They tried playoff football, showed a lot of heart from everyone on the team. I know the game didn't go your way and stuff like that, but I guess going forward, then what's the plan? If you were able to make any changes that you wanted, like what would it be? Like what would the team look like going into next season? Like players or coaches or whatever it may be, because you guys obviously are going to be looking for a head coach as well. So
Yeah. Well, we don't know who we're getting for head coach, but we're also looking for a GM because Mike Mayock got fired, which is terrible because he never had anything to say about the first round picks. Like he wasn't allowed to pick the first round picks. That was all Gruden. And he did like the second, third round picks, and we were hitting on those. Like
yeah,
every second and third round pick, like you think Nate Hobbs, Max Crosby, Trayvon Morig, like our second and third round picks were money. Like they've all been really good. So I wanted to see them give him one more year, give him full control and say, hey, make the picks from number one. Let's see what you can actually do to build this team. Let's see how your people are. Because Alex Leatherwood, bust. Cleve Farrell, bust. Damon Arnett, Henry Ruggs, bust. Like those are our first round picks. Like the only thing we got out of the Khalil Mack trade, the Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper trade, was Josh Jacobs. That's it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like he was down and out this season. Like he just had a rough season. He didn't rush for 1,000 yards, but it's just it is what it is. If I could GM that during free agency, I wouldn't do anything with the draft. Like I'm not knowledgeable enough in college football players to be able to do a draft, but I would throw money, just throw as much money as I could at Devontae Adams and Quinnen Williams.
Yeah.
Like get a really, really strong defensive tackle in there that can rush up, or even Everson Griffin, because he's a free agent too. You know, throw money at the people that we can to keep them, because we have a lot of free agents on our team. And we want to keep as many of them as we can. But like, go get Devontae Adams. Give Derek Carr his final year on his contract. Don't extend him until after the season. Like, if you want to keep him after he's had a season with a solid number one receiver and Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, then at that point, offer him some money. Like, offer him a new contract. He's not going to get Patrick Mahomes money. I don't think he's worth Patrick Mahomes money. I love Derek Carr. I have a special place in my heart for him. Always have, because the dude's a fighter. He's had multiple concussions. He's had a broken leg. He's had He's broke his fingers. He's busted his wrist. He's busted his elbow. And he's missed 2 games in his career. Like, in 8 years, he's missed 2 games. That dude is a fighter. And I love seeing that heart. He has the heart of a Raider. He's just so inconsistent. But we've never really put a strong team around him. Now, going back to the game against the Bengals, honestly, I'm not saying we should have won that game, but I will say there are 2 calls that are questionable. The one was when Joe Burrow was stepping out of bounds, even though he didn't step out of bounds. As the ball was in the air, they whistled that play dead, but they still gave them the touchdown. When they whistled that play, you watched Trayvon Moehrig stop. He was covering T. Higgins, and he heard the whistle. He stopped. So he could have made a play on that ball had he not heard the whistle. But they still gave him that. And according to the NFL rulebook, if a play is whistled dead before the completion of the play, they need to replay that down if it was errant.
Yeah.
Which it was an errant whistle. Per NFL rulebook, they should have replayed that down. That's not saying they wouldn't have scored on the next play.
Yeah, who knows what would have happened.
But it was only second down. So who's to say they wouldn't have scored? They still had 2 more downs. They were at like the 19-yard line, so they still could have got another first down. I'm not saying that necessarily changed the course of the game, that changed what the score would have been. But, by rules, you need to go replay that play.
Yeah.
And then in the last minute or so, when the Raiders were marching down to tie the game, that interception, if you watched, he threw it to Zay Jones. Okay? Zay Jones was standing in the end zone when the ball was coming. By the time the ball got there, he hadn't moved, but he was on the 2-yard line because the guy that was defending him was on top of him, pushing him forward before the ball even got there. That right there is a pass interference. It should have been called as a pass interference, not an interception. So those are the 2 plays that I feel were reffed incorrectly. Yeah. However, what actually hurt the Raiders overall, and I'm not saying the refs gave them the game. What hurt the Raiders overall was how many holding penalties we had. Like, our offensive line was holding like crazy, and it just screwed things up. Like, we had a 36-yard pass to Deshaun Jackson, was called back for holding. We had a 32-yard run from Josh Jacobs and a 18-yard run from Peyton Barber, called back for holding. We had a 38-yard pass to Zay Jones, called back for holding. We had Derek Carr get out of the pocket and rush for 9 yards, called back for holding. I'm like, guys, like, what the hell are you doing? You just took away over 150 gained yards and made it into like 50 yards lost plus the 150 yards. So we just lost essentially 200 yards on you not being able to block properly. And the only offensive lineman that was never called for holding, Colton Miller. Every other offensive line was called for holding. It was terrible. And then we make the stupid mistake of putting Foster Moreau to block Hendrickson. Like, why are you putting a tight end to block a 290-pound defensive end that's got the speed of freaking Josh Jacobs? Like, dude, he made Foster Moreau look stupid. Like, you even said something about that. You're like, why is he blocking him? Like, what are you doing? He completely cleared out Foster Moreau and got the sack. Like, done.
Strip sack. Yeah, it was fumbled too.
Yeah. Terrible. Like, I don't know. They just made a lot of mistakes. They showed that they were inexperienced. And the Bengals showed that they were inexperienced too. Like, they made a lot of mistakes as well. They just were able to capitalize a little better on the Raiders' mistakes. So, but I will say, we still have 2 corners that never gave up a touchdown all year. That was Nate Hobbs and Casey Hayward. Neither one of them ever gave up a touchdown, which is awesome. And now Nate Hobbs is in trouble again, by the way. Got pulled over this weekend. I think it was Thursday. Got pulled over doing 110 miles an hour on I-15. He wasn't drunk. He was just going fast as hell. So reckless driving. Dumbass. But yeah.
Raiders people don't know how to drive. Players, I guess, don't know how to drive.
No, they're in Vegas, so they think they can get away with everything. Like, I
Yeah.
love the fact they're in Vegas, but I think it was a big mistake to move young players to Vegas,
Yeah, true. But anybody's got to get used to that, young players in LA. Like, LA is a hop-in place too. So players just got to have more self-discipline and learn, and they're just learning the hard way, unfortunately. I'd have to say if I was able to make some changes for your guys' team in the offseason, yes, definitely get Devontae Adams. But for some reason you're not able to, if he stays with the Packers or goes somewhere else, I don't know. But if it doesn't play out, or even if you do get him, I think you need to get a wide receiver in the draft. Like, I think, Ruggs is gone. Hunter Renfrow is not enough, sorry, to make it a deep playoff run. You need to find that X factor wide receiver. And so I think you guys should get a wide receiver in the first round. Boom, done. Make
No.
a guarantee X factor player.
Yeah, I can't agree with that because Zay Jones became that X Factor player this year. No, he really did. Like, he stepped up and he actually built a rapport with Derek Carr. He is not a number one receiver. Not at all. That's why I'm saying go get Devontae Adams. So you have Devontae Adams, then you have Zay Jones, and you have Bryan Edwards lined up at the X. Like they switch off between the X, and you have Hunter Renfrow obviously as a slot. You have Darren Waller as a tight end. So Bryan Edwards can be a big game player if he can actually get his drops out from under him. Zay Jones has the speed. He doesn't have Deshaun Jackson or Henry Ruggs speed, but he has the speed, and he runs strong routes, and he's built that rapport with Derek Carr. I think Zay Jones is going to be the X factor next year. He's not a number one receiver, and that was the problem this year is we had to put him as the number one receiver after the Henry Ruggs thing. He's more of a number two, number three receiver.
Yeah. Well, Henry Ruggs wasn't stepping up either, and I don't even think you need a person who's fast. Like, I felt like Gruden was just like, wow, Henry Ruggs is super fast, so we'll be able to use him. Yeah, that can be helpful in certain situations, but if you're not using it the right way, then it's not very helpful. And Devontae Adams, is not like he's a speedy guy, but he's just great at all the other stuff. Like a Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's not a fast guy, but he's just good at everything else and good, so smart to be able to read the defense. But I still think you guys should get someone, even if you get Devontae Adams. But if you don't get Devontae Adams, you definitely need to get someone in the draft to be able to make it make it where he can be able to have that. Coaching, I don't think the guy who was the interim coach should be the head coach. I'm sorry. He did a great job. Don't get me wrong. He got you guys to the playoffs. And going into the situation with everything that happened with Gruden and Ruggs and everything else, he did a great job. But I feel like the Raiders just need just a young talent, just someone who's gonna, I don't know, lift up, give more energy. I'm not saying like the Sean McVay effect can work for everyone, but just like get someone in there that's just like, all right, let's go, let's get the culture where we want it. Back in the day when it was, the Raiders and it was, just win, baby. Like, let's get that momentum going. And I just don't think the guy who is the interim coach can be able to just like bring that type of energy, into next season. So I feel like you just need to go out and get somebody else.
I 100% agree with you. Like, I like Rich Bisaccia, and he's one hell of a special teams coach. But I don't think he's head coach material. Like, he did all right with what he had to work with.
Yeah.
But he wasn't calling plays. He wasn't doing anything really. The one thing that I respect for him for, though, is his wife took a picture of him in the hotel room, and he was actually handwriting thank you cards to every player and every member of the staff after the Cincinnati Bengals loss. He stayed up all night handwriting thank you cards to the entire Raiders organization, which I think was amazing. But I'm going to tell you right now, our head coach next year is going to be Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. There's a rumor that Mark Davis offered him 70 years, $70 million.
70 years, you said?
7 years, $70 million.
I thought you said 70 years, though. I was just like, what?
7 years. 7 years, $70 million.
Oh, okay. Like, damn. And this might be a long shot, and I know you'll probably disagree, but I think Dan Quinn might be a good head coach there too, just because, him doing what he did with the Dallas defense, and he's kind of redeeming himself. I know, the Falcons, he got them to a Super Bowl, and then after that, it kind of fell off the map. But just think if he's able to help the Raiders defense like he did the Cowboys defense,
Yeah, I wouldn't be down on Dan Quinn. The only problem that I've seen is if we bring in somebody that's super defensive minded as a head coach, we struggle. Like that's when we really, really struggle. We did it with Dennis Allen. Jack Del Rio was really the only one that came in and actually did anything, but he really didn't do much. He still had a losing record overall, but he did have that 12-4 season, that we went to the playoffs and Derek Carr got hurt. And then we bring in John Gruden right after. I'm like, that's stupid to me. But honestly, I'm saying Jim Harbaugh is going to be the coach. Like it's already in the works. Like everything's going on. Michigan came out and said if the Raiders actually offer him money, he's probably going to go. And he's mulling things over. However, the coach that I would love to see in there, and if I was a GM, I would bring in, or if I was the owner, I'd bring in, is Brian Flores. Like the things that guy did in Miami, how he turned that team completely around.
Yeah.
Like and he's an offensive and defensive mind. Like the guy knows his stuff. And
there was no reason for Miami to even let him go. Other than that,
it was a power struggle.
He wanted more control. That's about it.
That's exactly what it was. It was a power struggle. But I would love to see Brian Flores come in as a head coach.
That would be awesome. Like
that's my dream coach.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That would be amazing if you guys got him. That because again, he's kind of young and he can kind of bring a little bit more energy, like he did with Miami. And you're right, he turned things around in Miami.
They didn't have a losing season under him.
Yeah.
He went 8-8, 10-6, and then this year they went like 9-8, I think. I know they just barely missed the playoffs, but
yeah. So I mean, we'll see in the off season for the Raiders and see the moves that they make. That'll be fun for us to talk about as it's happening. I know there were some other games, but this is our podcast, so let's just jump into my team.
Perfect.
And the Rams Cardinals game. A lot of people had the Cardinals winning just because of the Rams' performance against the Niners in the last game of the regular season, and that game kind of getting thrown away by the defense. I think the defense took it personally. They were just like, okay, you think it was our fault that we lost against the Rams? All right, watch this. And so the defense absolutely dominated from the first quarter to the last. Like it was complete domination. And Kyler Murray, the beginning of the season, they were, talking about MVP candidate. The team was undefeated for the longest time. Like he was on a roll. Then he had that injury and then came back. No DeAndre Hopkins. They no JJ Watt. So, and then they started going on this losing skid. They lost like 4 of their last 5 games or something like that. I think the only team they had beaten was Dallas. Like they had beaten Dallas, but then they had lost like all the other games. So, and you could tell Murray maybe wasn't ready for the playoffs. He wasn't ready for that type of like situation. I like how the Rams ran the ball. Like we got Cam Akers back, who I know, Larry and you were kind of saying like, hey, don't put him in there, don't risk him getting hurt. But he looks 100%,
Yeah.
and having him and Sony has been killer. Like it's just helped us so much, and it puts less stress on Stafford to have to make sure that he's like throwing almost every play. He can kind of get the plays that he wants. Um, they shut down Cooper Kupp until the end. Cooper Kupp got some catches at the end there, but like they shut him down, so Odell went off, and Odell had a hell of a game. He's caught 6 touchdown passes in the last 8 games, I think it is. Um, and so the pieces are coming together, and it's feeling a lot better. And I think playoff football kind of amplifies things too. I think that's when people finally decide, okay, I'm giving everything. I'm giving all I have. The home crowd was a good thing too, because we didn't really have many Cardinals fans there. I mean, when we played the Niners, it was like half Niner fans, half like Rams fans. So it was nice that the Rams fans actually like came out and like supported instead of giving their tickets to Cardinals fans. And I know the players were really like pushing for that and encouraging fans to be able um, to like come out and not give their tickets away, or if they do get their tickets, that they sell their tickets to sell them to Rams fans. But yeah, overall, I think it was a good boost to give us confidence in going into the next round, because Tom Brady is no joke, obviously. So what was your oversight of the Rams Cardinals?
Um, the biggest stat that got me, like you talked about the defense. I I predicted again how many sacks Aaron Donald would get. He had 3.5. That's what I said. Said three and a half sacks in a strip. He didn't get the strip, unfortunately, but he did cause that errant freaking Kyler Murray pass in the end zone that would have been a safety. That was the shortest pick six in history at 3 yards.
Yeah.
Like, he was the one that hit Kyler Murray for that. So that was amazing. So I mean, you can kind of give him the strip there, but no. The biggest stat that stood out to me was until like 5 minutes left in the second quarter, 5 or 6 minutes left in the second quarter. The Rams had not had a single play past their 29-yard line, their own 29-yard line.
Yeah.
And then they go down and they score. But, the Rams still shut them down. Like they freaking destroyed them.
Yeah, what
And
was it? The OBJ had more passing yards than Kyler Murray at one point.
in the first half, yeah. Because like OBJ had 40 and Kyler Murray had like 19 or something like that. It was terrible. Like their first 3 drives, they were negative yards. Like they had, I think they had 9 plays run for negative 11 yards. I was like, what the hell is going on? The Rams took it personally. And, I was skeptical about bringing Cam Akers back because his injury was that bad. Like he snapped his Achilles tendon in half.
Yeah,
Like, and the doctor said like putting it back together was like trying to sew, what was it they said?
2 mops.
Yeah, 2 mop heads together,
Yeah.
which is just it's insane. And the way he looked, like I took that back. I was like, holy crap. The doctor that did the work, amazing doctor. Absolutely amazing doctor. He did a great job. And it's nice to see Cam Akers back because you guys were without Daryl Henderson for a few weeks. So you really didn't have the two-headed monster that you normally have. And like with when Daryl Henderson comes back, you guys are gonna have a three-headed running back monster. Like that's gonna be scary as hell. But I'll almost bet one of them's gonna walk next year. I just don't know who.
Well, yeah, no one wants to be a second or third string running back. They want to be a starter. So no,
Yeah.
I get that.
But
Um,
I'd love to see Sony Michel and Cam Akers stay. Let Daryl Henderson walk.
yeah. Yeah.
But like Darrell Henderson's a good downhill runner, but that's really all he is. Like he runs through people. He's a Marshawn Lynch type runner. You know, if he can't run through people, he's not effective. Sony Michel and Cam Akers are both downhill runners, but also east to west runners. Like they'll be able to juke people out of their shoes. And like honestly, to speak to Cam Akers really quick, like that dude felt like shit after that game. Like the hit that he laid on Buda Baker and then his whole like stay down thing, he didn't realize what had happened. And like he was beside Buda Baker, like on his knees, like you could see he had tears in his eyes. Like he felt bad because he had not just hit him and caused the injury, but he was an asshole to him. You know, he taunted him. It should have been a taunting call, honestly. But
it should have been.
But you know, the fact that he didn't realize it, people are like, "Oh, he's an asshole." It's like, you know, he didn't realize the injury was there. Like, had Buda Baker hopped right back up and had the injury not happened, nobody would have said anything about it. But the injury happened, and thankfully, like the news came out with Buda Baker that it was just a severe concussion. It did because when it hit, it looked like the way that he hit the ground, it looked like he broke his neck or his back. Like it looked bad. But they said he was able to move all of his extremities. He's good. He has full range of motion. It was just he was out before he hit the ground. Like that's how hard Cam Akers hit him. But to see Cam Akers back in action, I'm happy to see it. He's a damn good running back. I don't want him to be the Saquon Barkley for the Rams, you know, where he's a great running back, but you can't count on him being on the field.
Yeah. No, I mean, any type of player, you can be an amazing player, but if you're never on the field to show it because of injuries or whatever it may be, then it's kind of pointless at that point. So, I definitely agree. So we'll talk about the Rams Bucks matchup here in a bit. So the Bucks steamrolled the Eagles, and we all kind of knew that was going to happen. So not really much to talk about in that game, to be honest. I mean, it was what everyone thought it would be. And then the surprising matchup to me was the Bills and the Patriots, and the freaking Bills steamrolling the Patriots. Like, I thought it'd be a lot closer. You know, I know, like you said, the Bills steamrolled them the second time they played, but in the regular season. But I didn't think it was going to be that bad. Like, it was the defense for the Patriots just did not show up whatsoever, and that put too much pressure on Mac Jones. Mac Jones is not a Patrick Mahomes where, oh, I'm down by 21, no big deal. Let me just go in and throw a bunch of touchdowns within a couple minutes,
Right.
So that just put way too much pressure on Mac Jones. But I think Mac Jones has a bright future. I think he kind of did a lot better than a lot of analysts or a lot of people thought he would. So give credit to him, and coming out of Alabama and being able to get the Patriots back to the playoffs after they had missed it the previous year, having Cam freaking Newton.
Right. So really quick, I did want to step back to that Rams game.
Yeah.
So I entered a FanDuel. Like it was $1 to get in. Winner gets $4,000. And it obviously people that actually do FanDuel, they know how it works. Like they break down money and everything. But the first place got $4,000. I had so the lineup is 5 players, but you have one player that's an MVP player that you get 1.5 times their fantasy points. So whatever they score, you get 1.5 times that. So I had the exact same lineup, exact same players as the guy that got $4,000. I won $25, but I had the same lineup. The only difference, I had Cooper Kupp as my MVP, and he had Matt Stafford as his MVP. So if I had swapped those two, me and him would have split, and I would have got $2,000 for that. But instead, because I flipped it, I got $25. I was like, that's bullshit. So just wanted to throw that out there. So just be aware, FanDuel, like it's a tough thing out there. So it's fun though. Don't do it. It's gambling.
Mixed signals there, Chris. Mixed signals.
I'm telling you not to do it. Everybody else, you guys are good.
Okay.
you have a baby to think about. You can't afford to gamble.
Yes, this is very true. Oh, shoot, that's too funny. And then the other game was the Chiefs and why am I blanking? The Steelers. So in that game, I called it. I said the Chiefs were going to steamroll them. The Chiefs were my lock, and they did exactly that. They steamrolled them, and Big Ben doesn't get to ride off into the sunset like he had planned. And he always goes through the past like 3 seasons. He said that he's going to retire, thinking about retiring, and then he doesn't. I hope he finally just calls it quits. Like he doesn't have what it takes anymore to be able to win a Super Bowl, for one, and two, he doesn't have a team around him to be able to do it either. So hopefully he just calls it good, and then the Steelers are going to be on a QB hunt in the offseason. Maybe a Russell Wilson.
No, they're going to end up with Sam Darnold.
Oh gosh. I mean, and they're talking. Mel Kiper's already like come out with his, draft picks for the first round, and I don't think he had any QBs in the top 10.
No.
So there's not any QBs really coming out of the draft, and so I don't know what some of these teams are going to do other than shuffling other quarterbacks in the league around and getting someone else from some other team. That's why I was throwing out there maybe a Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. I don't know, because he's obviously talking about leaving as well. I mean, Russell Wilson's last game, all the analysts and all the people were already saying like, oh, well, if he was gonna, since he's probably going to be leaving, it's good that he ended on a win because they beat the Cardinals. So I think everyone kind of just expects that Russell Wilson is gone. And then the Seahawks are going to have to go on a quarterback hunt. Seahawks, hopefully, maybe they'll get Sam Darnold. Just make my division a little bit easier. Because even though we would always beat the Seahawks and we kind of have their number, I still hated playing against Russell Wilson. Like he still would make our life very difficult. So it would be nice to have him make somebody else's division difficult and make somebody else's life hard. So yeah, so those were all the games that were being played. Here coming up today, the first game is going to be the Bengals and the Titans. Titans reactivating Derrick Henry. How much of a factor is he going to be in this game?
Well, the coaches said that he's 100%, and they do not have him on a snap count.
Wow, really? No snap count?
No snap count. So if he truly is 100%, we're gonna see Derrick Henry of old, like basically what Cam Akers did. And he's gonna run over that Bengals defense, dude. But I don't think they win.
Oh wow, already calling out the pick. Okay, well, so you think Bengals are gonna take this game then?
The Titans don't have any defensive players to be able to stop Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase has been the X factor this year. He'll most likely win Rookie of the Year, I would hope, with the way that he's played and the records that he's broken and taking that team to the next level. Of course, Joe Burrow and him evolving has also helped out a lot with that.
Well, and having T. Higgins as well, who's second year,
Yeah.
like he's not Jamar Chase good, but he's still a really strong X receiver,
Yeah, exactly. And they still have, Joe Nixon, who's been there quite a while and kind of been a nice, what is it called? Like a nice, like not stand-in. Like he's just been a good, like he hasn't left. He hasn't asked for a trade or anything like that. He's kind of just stayed the course, but he's been consistently good. Like, I don't think there's
Yeah, I
been a
think he
year
was.
where it was just like, oh yeah, Joe Nixon did terribly. Like, he's done really good. Like, every year he's been there, even with them during the bad years when they were crappy.
Yeah, I think he was number 3 this year in yards for
Yeah,
rushing yards.
yeah. So, and I'm not surprised that the offense is making the turnaround that it did, because I mean, the head coach was the offensive coordinator for the Rams. you know, so he's obviously got a good offensive mind, and he was able to go and get the picks to make that team very offensively good. I actually agree with you. I'm picking the Bengals in this game. I think they're going to take it. Derrick Henry or no Derrick Henry. You know, we'll see. Henry will probably get his yards because he somehow always does. He always finds a way to get his yards. But I think that the Bengals are gonna take it and win. I think they just have more weapons, like you said. The Titans are kind of just working with Derrick Henry right now. We'll see. Vrabel, I can never pronounce his last name. The coach for the Titans.
Grable.
Grable. Oh, okay. I thought it was Vrabel or something with a V.
Oh yeah, it's Vrabel.
Vrabel, yeah. He's very defensive minded. Obviously, he was a defensive player for the Patriots. So I'm sure he'll have some type of good game plan, but I just don't think it'll be enough to slow him down. So I'm picking the Bengals to move on into the next round. So the next matchup would be later tonight, which is the San Francisco 49ers. Oh, we didn't talk about that game against the Cowboys.
Why? Why would we even talk about that, dude? Oh,
I do want to bring something up about that. I know now we're kind of getting off track because we were just about to talk about the 49ers and the Packers, but I have to mention this. I have to. I'm sorry.
everybody's doing the 10-year challenge. There's the Cowboys 10-year challenge. 10 years ago it was Tony Romo. This year it's Dak Prescott.
Oh no, that's messed up.
That's so funny though.
Oh shoot. Oh, okay. So obviously everyone is talking about the towards the end of the game, the Cowboys had a chance to come back and win the game. And I can't remember how much time was left, but there wasn't a whole heck of a lot of time left. And they had no timeouts, and Dak Prescott and the offensive coach or whoever made that freaking call decided to do a freaking QB rush up the middle, and Dak ran it for a good like 15 yards or something like that.
30. It was 30 yards.
He ran it for 30?
Ran it for 30 yards.
Oh,
And
damn.
then slid down. Dak made the mistake. He handed the ball to his center instead of handing it to the ref, because the ref has to touch the ball before they can snap it again.
Exactly, which is the rules that the ref has to touch the ball first before and place it, put it where it's supposed to go before they snap it. And so Dak was not able to snap the ball quick enough before the time ran out. Time runs out, end the game. 49ers win. And fans, of course, were throwing whatever debris, cups, whatever they could at the
Beer
refs
cans.
as the refs were leaving, going through the tunnel. Which I kind of, as soon as the game ended that way, I kind of knew that's what was going to happen. And then Dak Prescott, of course, interviewed after the game, and they said, how do you feel about the fans like doing this? And he said, yeah, good on them. He was like, I'm glad they did that. And I was just like, dude, I lost so much respect for you. Like, I used to have a good amount of respect for Dak. I thought he was a real decent guy. Yeah, he plays for the Cowboys. Not everybody loves the Cowboys, but I at least respected him and where he came from, how he got there, how he's in the position that he got in. He worked really hard. But then he goes and says that the fans should have done that. Like, that's he was like, I'm glad that they did that. Now, past couple days here recently, he's backtracked and said, "Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that." Like,
Because
it
he
was
got fined.
Huh?
The NFL fined him for that.
Oh, did he?
Like $250,000, dude. Like, it was a pretty decent fine.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things, and I can understand people are human. We're human. We make mistakes. It was in the heat of the moment, but that's your job. Like if I see something like inappropriate at my job, like I could get fired.
Hmm.
Like it's not just like a fine. It's like I would get fired. So I'm smart enough to know no matter how upset I get at someone else or how upset I am, I still know I need to bite my tongue and not say what I actually want to say.
Yeah,
So I think Dak, yeah, he made the mistake, but now I don't really have very much respect for him now.
me either, because it was his mistake, not the ref's mistake. The
Yeah.
refs didn't ruin that game. He made the mistake, and then he tried to block the ref from getting to the ball. Like, the ref's trying to run up to get the ball, just mark it for him. Like, the ref was doing what he was supposed to do, but Dak blocked him and ran into the ref. Like, technically, you running into the ref, you can get ejected from the game,
Yeah.
but that would have stopped the clock. But I mean, the ref did what he was supposed to do. He was trying to get up to touch the ball so that they could snap it.
Yeah.
Because Dak Prescott made that mistake of handing it to a center and not the ref.
Well, and he made the mistake of running it for 30 yards. If he would have ran it for 15 and slid sooner, like they could have had enough time to come up and still spike it, and you could still throw it into the end zone.
Get the first down, slide down, done. But no,
Yeah,
he runs for 20 extra yards past the first down. I'm like, what are you doing? Why is he running so far? Oh my God, the clock's out.
yeah, exactly. So, and you know, I, I just hate that a lot of people tried to blame the refs, not only just for that, but for like other calls in the game. And it's just like, unfortunately, refs are human. They're not going to be able to see everything. Everything is very like quick. Everything. We have the luxury of being able to watch it on replay in super duper slow motion. To be able to see like everything that's going on. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think the refs lost that game for him. I think it was poor management on the Cowboys and Dak, poor management on his part. Whoever called that QB run, whether it was Mike McCarthy or the offensive coordinator Moore, they that's a terrible call to call in that situation. I just don't know what you're thinking. So just poor management all around for that. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that quick tidbit out there. Just because like I said, I think it was pretty awful that Dak said that the fans should have thrown stuff at the refs. That's
Yeah.
uncalled for. So
And
just
I'll say right now, like, I have no respect for most of the Cowboys players. I don't. Like, Trayvon Diggs is probably the only one. Just because I think they're all arrogant assholes. And if you watch the game, like, the Cowboys fans are in the stands, like, pissed off. They're crying. Somebody actually like snapped pictures of them crying, of the different fans crying, and made socks out of them.
oh my gosh.
I thought it was hilarious. But no, I mean that. So I'm a Raiders fan. We get a lot of flack for being a toxic fan base. Because we're known for fighting. We have the motto of, if we can't beat you on the field, we'll beat you in the parking lot. But that was in Oakland. Vegas, we turned over a new leaf. Like, yeah, we're still assholes. I'll own that. Raiders fans are assholes. But we call it like it is. Like, we love our team. Name another team that has that much pride in their team that aren't bandwagon jumpers. Like,
Yeah.
we have a losing season. We have 20 losing seasons, and we still sell out crowds. Like, we are a toxic fan base and we get a lot of shit for it. But I will say right now, the most toxic fan base in the NFL is the Dallas Cowboys. Absolutely. Like, 100%. They are disgusting. Like, you'll never see Raiders fans throw shit at the refs. Like, doesn't matter if the game doesn't go our way. We're not going to throw shit at the refs because, yeah, they make mistakes. They're human. It happens. But The refs aren't going to decide the game. They may decide one or two plays that may shift a little bit of the momentum, but really, in all honesty, the Raiders made enough mistakes to lose that game. I could say refs all I want, but that's just a damn excuse for poor play on the Raiders' part. The Cowboys straight up blame the refs. Like, they did not blame Dak Prescott for being a poor time management or time manager. Like, he did not manage that game, like you said, at all. Like, he sucked from the start of the game. Like, he was throwing errant passes. He was off cue constantly with all of his receivers. Like, it just was not a good game for Dak Prescott at all. And then you got Ezekiel Elliott, who's averaging 1.2 yards per carry that game and still being cocky and saying, feed me the ball. Bitch, shut up. You're averaging 1.2 yards. I'm 40 years old. I'm fat as hell. I haven't played football for freaking 22 years, 23 years, and I can average more than 1.2 yards a carry. That might be like 1.3, but he's a professional athlete. Like, go do that shit, dude. You get paid millions to do this. Like, shut the hell up. And then the fan base just throwing a fit, throwing shit at the refs. Like, come on, man. And you're sitting there crying because your team didn't fucking win against the 49ers. Like, the 49ers are a good team. They're probably one of the scariest teams to be in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
Because their run game is money. They have a lot of players on defense that are healthy, that are actually really strong players. Like Fred Warner's scary. Nick Bosa is scary. They actually have and Eric Armstead. Oh my God, dude. Eric Armstead is a monster.
Yeah.
But you lost to a good team. Take it. Like, you made mistakes. Your team made mistakes. Don't sit and cry. Don't sit and throw things at the refs, because it's not their fault. They're there to do a job as well. And it's unfair that you're doing that shit. Like, you are taking things out on another human being that shouldn't be taken out.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that for sure. And you were talking about, losing to a good team. Like I said, I kind of got on that tangent because I was about to talk about the 49ers against the Packers for later tonight. And I think the 49ers have a good chance in this game. Like, I know they're the 6th seed, but I mean, they have a really legit shot at beating the Packers. Like you said, the run game is what is money for them. If they are able to run it on you, you're screwed. And they don't just run it on you with their running backs. They freaking put Deebo Samuel in there at running back, and they just do all sorts of plays with him. Deebo Samuel, I think, is such an underrated wide receiver in the NFL. People don't talk about him enough. And I think he's kind of like a Cooper Kupp of the team for the Niners. Like, he can get the ball and get yards after catch like it's no one's business. Like, I think he was number 2 to Cooper Kupp for yards after catch this season.
He was number 1.
I thought for sure in the game when they were talking about Cooper Kupp, they said he had the most, and the next person under him was like 100 yards short.
So he had the most yards after catch. Like, he had the most yak yards, but the average per was Deebo Samuel. That's what I was saying. So
okay.
he had a higher average per catch yard after catch, because he was like, his average yards after catch was like 9.7, and Cooper Kupp was like 9.2.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look, that just automatically says playmaker right there. Like, that's literally saying if he touches the ball, you're almost guaranteed a first down. Like that's ridiculous. So, they definitely have a shot. The only thing, and you and Larry gave me grief about this, and it may be because I'm a Rams fan. I'll be honest, it might be because I'm a Rams fan. But I'm tired of the Jimmy G talk and everyone just being on top of him of just like, oh, Jimmy G's playing through this thumb injury and he's still putting the team on his back and winning games and blah blah blah. And they interview him after the game and they I'm just like, interview Deebo or interview like freaking the running backs. Like, Jimmy G is not the reason the 49ers are winning games right now. Like you said, they have a dominant defense when it's healthy. Their secondary, maybe not as much, but their front is like ridiculous. And then the running backs in Debo. Like, I don't care who you are, Jimmy G, if you're throwing a freaking across, like you throw a 2 yard pass to Debo, it turns into 30 yards, and then all of a sudden, oh, Jimmy G, racking up all these yards. It's like, no, he literally threw 2 yards down the field, and then Debo did all the rest. And he almost, when they wanted to put their foot on the pedal on the Cowboys, he almost gave the game away against the Cowboys. He threw that interception, and it gave the Cowboys all the momentum. They scored right after that. He almost lost that game for the 49ers. And so I'm tired of the talk. I'm tired of all these analysts, all these people just praising Jimmy G so much like he's an elite quarterback, and it bothers me.
Hey, the G stands for God. All right. It's
Oh my.
Jimmy. I'm just kidding, dude. You know how I feel about Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I never have. Like he is a game manager. That's what he's good at. He's a damn good game manager. I will give him that. However, he's also kind of the game X factor. He's either going to win it for you or he's going to lose it for you. Like, and when he loses it for you, he loses big. Like he'll throw like 4 or 5 picks. Like it's terrible. I've never liked Jimmy G, even when he was with the Patriots. Never liked him. I don't think I think the 49ers are making a mistake by keeping him. And I don't think he'll be there next year. I think they're going to move on to Trey Lance because Trey Lance, why not put Trey Lance back there? I mean, you have Elijah Mitchell and you have Deebo Samuel who's running the ball as well, who's averaging like 100 yards rushing a game when he's actually playing, when he's rushing. And then you put in Trey Lance who can run the ball as well, but also has a cannon for an arm. Like, I think he's a much more accurate passer and a better passer than Jimmy Garoppolo. But if you put all 3 of them in the backfield, who's getting the ball to run it? Like, how many trick plays could you do to like completely confuse the defense? Like, I think that would be like amazing to watch, But no, everybody's on Jimmy G's dick, and like it's stupid. Like I told you, like we were talking about it last night at work. It's seriously like he's the whole, what was it that we called? He's the game changer, right?
Yeah.
He's a game changing quarterback. Most of the time, he changes it for the bad. And the running game and defense is what saves his ass. It's not him. I mean, he had 3,800 yards this year. He passed for 3,800 yards.
Yeah.
Do you know, he only had like maybe out of his 400 attempts this year, his 400 passing attempts, he had 50 that were beyond 25 yards.
That's what I'm saying. It just bothers me. And if they put the game in his hands, like you said, they're not gonna win it, and
Nope.
because he is a game manager. So let's break down then playing in Green Bay, playing with like -10-degree weather, all the fun stuff that comes with playing in Green Bay. So who do you have for this game?
I have Green Bay, 100%. Like, I'll lock that one in all day long, simply because Jimmy G has never played in a game lower. Jimmy G's coldest game he ever played in was 41 degrees.
Yeah.
And now he's going to Green Bay, going to play the frozen tundra, -10 degrees with a wind chill factor that drops it to like -20. Aaron Rodgers is used to that shit.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is going to play out of his mind. Devontae Adams is going to play out of his mind. Aaron Jones is probably going to have 130 rushing yards on that defense because nobody on that 49ers team is used to that weather. It's going to be that home field advantage. That's what's going to win it for the Packers.
Yeah. Who do I think will win? Who do I want to win? So I think that the Packers are going to win. They've been obviously number one seed for a reason. So and everyone's talking Aaron Rodgers for a second straight MVP, which again another topic, but don't think that he should get it again. But
Cooper Cup.
Cooper Cup for MVP. I think real quick on that, MVP is like someone that even when they're not doing something, like if they're not producing, they're still making other players better. Like an Aaron Donald effect. If Aaron Donald's being double teamed and not getting sacks, Von Miller's getting sacks or Leonard Floyd's getting sacks. Cooper Kupp in that game against the Cardinals was being shut down.
He was double teamed all game.
Yeah, since he was double teamed, Odell lit up. Tyler Higbee lit up. So, anyways, I think that's what an MVP truly is. But I want the 49ers to win solely for selfish purposes of if we beat the Bucks, then we would get a home NFC championship game. It would be the 49ers against the Rams in LA, and I think we would have a better chance at beating the Niners at home than we would going on the road again, like you said, playing in negative degree weather against the Packers. So, and last year we lost to the Packers in Green Bay. So I mean, it's hard playing in Green Bay. That's why I wish we could have had home field advantage ourselves. But it is what it is. Sometimes you gotta to prove you're the best. You got to be able to win on the road as well too. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully the Niners win, but I think the Packers will take it. All right, so tomorrow's games, the Rams and the Bucks, like we had mentioned, playing in Tampa. So how do you see this one playing out?
I see this being 35-27 or 28, 35-28 in favor of the Rams. It's going to be a hard fought game. Like we talked about this last night, and you said you don't see the Rams giving up that many points, but you have to understand it's Tom Brady. Like it's Tom freaking Brady. Like the guy finds a way to win. Like it doesn't matter who he's got on his team. Like yeah, he doesn't have Chris Godwin. Mike Evans is banged up. Leonard Fournette's not playing. You know, he's got old ass Giovanni Bernard, but the dude finds a way to win. And you guys, I'll give the Rams credit. They beat him in the regular season when they had a full squad, when they had all their players. However, regular season Tom Brady is way different than playoff Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Like Tom Brady becomes this whole other monster in the playoffs. And there's a rumor that Tom Brady, if he wins a Super Bowl, he's actually going to retire. He's going to ride off in the sunset and be done if he wins a Super Bowl. But I don't think he's going to. He's going to come back next year. He's going to play one more year, play until he's 45, which we've said for a long time that he's going to play till he's 45. But I think the Rams get it done, but it's going to be a hard fought game. It's going to come down to what defense can get to what quarterback. The Bucks defense is nothing like they were last year. You know, and they're without a lot of their stars on offense as well. I think the Rams get after Tom Brady. Donald only gets 2 sacks on him, but Leonard Floyd gets 2 sacks as well. And I say Jalen Ramsey gets at least 1 pick, possibly a pick 6.
Oh, nice.
You know, Jalen Ramsey likes getting Tom Brady. He's good at shutting people down, and they're going to put him probably on Mike Evans the whole game. You know, put him over there, put him against him, and say, shut his ass down. Odell is going to have another big game because it's stupid. Who do you double team? Cooper Kupp or Odell? They're both amazing receivers. Like Odell just had shitty years in Cleveland because Baker Mayfield sucks. Matt Stafford is a damn good quarterback and should be in the Hall of Fame when he retires, but he won't be because he spent his whole career with the Lions. And
we'll
never
see.
had any. If he wins a Super Bowl, he'll get in.
Yeah, if he can get the chip, then we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Outside of that, I think he's probably top 10 all time. I would say he's a top 10 quarterback all time. He's just had a shitty team around him. Now he's got a good team, and look at what he's doing.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean,
First playoff win ever for Matthew Stafford against the Cardinals.
You compare him to Jimmy G. Matt Stafford did everything he could with the Lions. Like, that dude was still a beast playing with the Lions. Jimmy G is shitty on a great team. Like, you put Matt Stafford on the 49ers, and they're a 14-2 team. Like, hands down. They're a damn good team.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, no, I think Matt Stafford has a big game. He probably throws at least one pick, but he still has a big game because Cooper Kupp finds a way to get open. Cooper Kupp goes for 140. Beckham goes for like 95 and a touchdown. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game, but the Rams come out on top by 7.
Nice. I like it. I see it kind of playing a little bit similar out. And like you said, we kind of talked about this a little bit last night to get ready for the podcast today. And I'll just reiterate it because I felt like it was a good point. So we beat the Bucks in the regular season, like you were saying. It was week 3, and it was with them having a full roster, which they don't now. One of their top offensive linemen, I don't even think is going to play in the game.
Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah, I think he's going to be out. So that's going to help Von Miller even more. It's going to help Aaron Donald even more. It's going to help Leonard Floyd, which Von Miller has been stepping up too. He's had like a sack in the last like 3 games. He's gotten at least 1 sack. So he's stepping up now and putting on playoff, playoff energy, playoff, I don't even know what to call it, but yeah, just playoff energy is probably the best way to phrase it. But, yeah.
He is a former Super Bowl MVP.
Exactly, yeah. So he knows what to bring and he knows when to turn it up, and now's the time. And to point out that, speaking of Von Miller, we didn't have Von Miller in week 3 when we beat Tampa. We have Von Miller now. We did not. Yeah, we didn't have Odell Beckham. We do now. We have a completely different team, and yeah, the Bucks are different as well now with their injuries.
You didn't have Cam Akers either because he was out.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what I was going to point out. I feel like if Sean McVay doesn't abandon the run, like if he doesn't get nervous, if he keeps to the game plan and tries to run the ball, I think Cam Akers will get a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. So I think Cam Akers goes off and gets one of each in the game. I agree. I don't think Jalen will get a pick, but I think he'll hold Evans to under 100 yards and no touchdowns. I think if anyone scores, it'll probably be like Gronk. So I think Jalen shuts down Evans and calls it good. Obviously he likes to get his picks in and stuff like that, and I think if Aaron Donald or Von Miller or even Leonard Floyd are able to get to Tom, it's going to be a rough game for them. They'll still put up points, like you said, because it's freaking Tom Brady. But I think it won't be as much. I think the score could be as close as like 21-28 Rams. I think it could be as close as that. So playing in Tampa as well is going to be rough. I think the defense was really feeding off of the energy at home against the Cardinals. You got to bring your own energy when you're on the road, and that's hard sometimes. You got to bring your own juice. So, I'm hoping, like I said, and then if we got to play the Packers next, that's going to be rough. The Packers might actually, get it done against us. I know they beat us in the regular season, and we had OBJ then, and we had Von Miller then, but they literally had just joined the team, I think, like a week before.
Yeah.
So, they have some time under their belts now, and playoff football is different. So, But we can talk about more about that if the Packers win and if the Rams win. These are all these are all a lot of if situations. So we'll see how it actually plays out. All right, and then that's the first game tomorrow, and then the last game will be the Chiefs and the Bills. And we both talked about this game last night, and we both are going different ways with it. But let's get your breakdown of the game first.
Josh Allen looked freaking amazing last week. That's what makes me nervous, is because he was an on and again, off again all year.
Yeah.
Like, he'd have a game where he'd have 4 touchdowns, and then the next game he'd have 4 turnovers, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? This is a rematch of the AFC Championship last year. You know, the Chiefs got it done. The Bills defense don't have Tre'Davious White. He's out. So that hurts big time. But they still have 2 of the best safeties in the game. They have Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. You know, 2 of the fastest sideline to sideline safeties. They can always drop one down in the box to stop the run game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not really he's not a big threat. They don't have a big threat in the run game right now. They just don't. You know, their threat is Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Josh Gordon, and Travis Kelce. That's their big threat. That's where it's going to be. That's where it's going to lie. Pat Mahomes is going to put his numbers up. And this is either going to be a major defensive game and be like a 13-10 game, or it's going to be high-powered offense, because last week both of the quarterbacks threw 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. You know, we're going to see like a 45-42 game. But either way, this game is going to be close. It's going to be decided by a field goal, probably a last-minute field goal. Last team to get the ball is probably going to win the game. And I think it's going to be the Bills. But I do not see this being a blowout on either side. I don't.
Fair enough. I think it's going to go the Chiefs' way. I think they're going to win the game. It's not going to be dominated. Obviously, it's not going to be like when they played the Steelers. Both defenses, they can give up points, and I feel like that's what's going to happen. I kind of agree that it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be last team gets the ball wins. It's going to be ridiculously high scoring. Like both teams are just going to go off just because they have too many weapons. But I think the Chiefs end up getting it done and end up winning. I just think they have their number. And like you said, which Josh Allen are we going to get? He's got playoff experience now under his belt, but I feel like going to 2 straight Super Bowls kind of gives Mahomes a little bit more of an edge on when it comes to like pressure moments and the pressure of, putting the team on your back. I know Bills fans, they're probably worried. They don't want to go through the same thing they went through when they went to 4 straight Super Bowls and didn't win a single one. You have a great quarterback and you're not able to take advantage of it to win Super Bowls. They had Jim Kelly for all those years and made the team just so dominant and so good, and then couldn't get it done with getting a single Super Bowl ring. So, I unfortunately I feel like they're gonna have the same stuff going on. So, yeah, Chiefs way. I think they win it. I think they win by like 10. I don't think it'll be a field goal, but I think they at least win by 10. So, and then potentially, again, there's a lot of what ifs. According to us, according to you, it would be then Chiefs, Bills, Bengals in the AFC Championship game. Or for me, it would be the Chiefs and the Bengals. And that would be a rematch of the regular season when the Chiefs lost to the Bengals by a field goal. And it was a crazy freaking game. It just played out so weird. So That could potentially be a great AFC, championship game again. And then of course the NFC as well. I think a lot of people think the NFC is kind of just more dominant this year than the AFC. But we'll see how that plays out. Mahomes could go to a third straight Super Bowl. And whether he wins it or loses it, or if he even gets there, like I said, there's a lot of what ifs. If he makes it again, does that kind of cement his legacy already at a young career?
Yeah, it's his 4th year, and he's going to his 3rd straight Super Bowl. Like, it's his 4th year. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Now,
So
I'm going to say right now,
cements it for him, like, for the rest of his career.
Yeah, he's got it. I hate saying this because they're in my division, but the Chiefs are going to be a dynasty with Patrick Mahomes under center. They're going to be the new Patriots.
Where it's like every year they basically have a chance.
Yep. I'm rooting for the Bills, but I want the Bills to win. That's why I'm picking the Bills. But in all honesty, as a analyst, I think the Chiefs are going to win the game. I think the Chiefs. I think it's going to be a Packers-Chiefs Super Bowl. I would love to see a Rams-Bengals Super Bowl or a Rams-Bills Super Bowl. Like, to me, that would be like amazing. But I think it's going to be a Packers-Chiefs Super Bowl. Replay a Super Bowl 1.
Yeah.
Where the Packers beat the shit out of the Chiefs.
Yeah, most likely that's probably what's going to happen. A lot of analysts, when the playoffs first started, they asked like who they thought the final two would be, and majority of them picked Packers Chiefs. Like Michael Irvin was like the only one that picked like Cowboys Titans or something like that. So, but everybody else was most likely picking the Packers Chiefs as well. I think one analyst picked Rams Bills or something like that. So, but yeah, a lot of the majority thinks it's going to be that. And I mean, why not? Packers are the number 1 seed for a reason. Chiefs are number 2 for a reason. So, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Alrighty, cool. Well, we kind of just wanted to do a shorter podcast this time, kind of just, talk about just the games and how we felt like they were going to play out. Because we don't have much time. And then after that, it's going to be mostly NBA talk. Normally you would say baseball talk, but, with them still being shut down, can't really talk too much about that. We'll see how long the shutout's still going to last, or lockout or whatever. And then of course, hockey is still going on as well, which we'll be able to get into. But yeah, it's long seasons for basketball, long seasons for baseball and even hockey. So it's kind of hard to continue to have some new to talk about when the seasons are so long, and it kind of just until it gets to playoffs, then you can kind of dive more into it. But
let's throw out the big fight tonight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the UFC heavyweight championship is on the line. Francis Ngannou. I can't remember the other guy's first name, but his last name is Gain. They were teammates. Well, I don't even know if they are still teammates or not, but I know they were teammates. They fought in the same camp or gym or whatever. So teammates going against each other for the heavyweight title, which I always think is funny when it plays out that way. Like, it seems like that'd be so awkward fighting one of your teammates. Like, having to try to knock out someone that you're okay with. I mean, I know sometimes they have feuds and stuff like that, and it makes it easier to be able to like go in and be like, well, yeah, I want to knock this guy out. I hate his guts. But like, this is just like mutual respect of just like, well, he's my teammate. I respect him. Well, man, best man win type of thing. But yeah, I'm very upset that I'm going to miss it. I love watching Francis Ngannou. He has already stated, depending on how this goes, he might go into the boxing world and fight Fury. So
he'd be good because the dude hits like a truck.
He does, yeah.
He said his punch power is just as high as Mike Tyson's when he was like prime Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Like that's where his punch power is.
Well, we'll see. I think he's doing it more for a payday because he has said like boxing will pay me more, which is kind of ironic since UFC is more popular than boxing. But he's
Yeah,
saying
but
boxing will pay him more.
like a boxing match, like Floyd Mayweather makes $100 million for one match.
Yeah.
Like Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley, the last fight, Tyron Woodley lost and made $35 million. Like in UFC, it took him 4 years to make $35 million and multiple fights, and then also being able to defend his belt. Like UFC doesn't pay anywhere near what boxing does, which like I said, like you said, I don't agree with that. Like it's way more popular. They have fights all the time. Like, why is Dana White not spreading that wealth? Like they make billions.
Yeah. Well, Dana White, I don't think he really has much say in that. I think it's just the new owners, the people who bought it from the two brothers that started it. I think it's all up to them. Yeah, he kind of Dana White has a say. I'm sure he could go to bat for the fighters and be like, "Hey, listen, fighters want to get paid more. We want to keep them around." But of course, they want to get their money too. Because Dana White makes a whole freaking heck of a lot, and
Yeah.
the people who bought it from the brothers who started it, I mean, they're making a lot. I mean, the amount of money that they paid those two brothers. God, I can't remember what it was. It was like a ridiculous deal that they had paid to buy UFC from them. Um, so they obviously had the money as well. But yeah, it should be a good fight. Just have to see the results and see what happens. It sucks that that will not be both of us won't be able to watch it because we'll be at work. But um, still be good. Still be good to see how it ends. Sometimes you can get lucky and kind of watch it watch it real quick before it gets taken down off of all the social media stuff. Someone will post it and then you can watch it right before it gets taken down. If it's like a knockout or submission, if it goes all 5 rounds, no one ever posts that on social media. But yeah, I hope Ngannou wins. I like him a lot. I like his story. He came from nothing and was able to get to where he is now. So I hope he wins. I hope he takes it. Just trying to think if there was anything else going on. I don't think there is. So we'll just wrap things up there. We always end the show with our 3 hashtags now because we got the hashtag Earl Thomas still not signed. We got the hashtag Cooper Cup MVP.
Cup for MVP.
And then the hashtag 30 for 30, the Florida Gators. We'll still do that for our good friend Larry. And we'll try to get him on the podcast this coming Wednesday and talk about the games that happen today and tomorrow. Real quick shout out as well. Just dedicate this podcast to my cousin Jacob, who passed away. He was only 30, very, very young guy. Um, mental awareness and mental health is a real thing. I know we don't get very many listeners, but if you can, just try to go and donate to mental health or mental research, brain research, whatever you feel like donating to be able to get more help in those areas. You can just donate in his name, Jacob Crowder. And every little bit counts. You don't have to donate a lot, obviously, but just a shout out to him. He was a great guy, always very loving and, always, laughing and having a good time and willing to help anybody. He would drop everything. If I asked him to come and help me move something, he'd be like, yeah, sure. And he'd just drop everything and come and help me. So, just, going to dedicate this episode to him. Gonna love him and miss him. But yeah, like I said, just go out, kind of just donate what little you can to research for that. Try to get some more help with people who have those issues and can't really control it. So, but until next time, we will catch you guys on the flip side, and we'll see you guys potentially on Wednesday talking about these games. All right. Peace.